Hello everyone, tonight we're going to embark on a fascinating journey. In this world, there's something you may never have thought about. Could you survive without mirrors? How would you feel if you couldn't see yourself every time you woke up in the morning? Don't worry, this isn't an episode of Doraemon, but let's imagine that you reincarnate as a prehistoric human around 10,000 BC, living in a world without mirrors. One thing is certain, you'll have to discover yourself in ways that are very different from today, not just in terms of your appearance, but also exploring what lies inside you. In our modern society, our outer appearance often hides the real person within. Have you ever wondered how you would know what you look like in a world without mirrors? You can't stand in front of one, and you can't occasionally see your shadow in windows or any body of water. One thing is certain. Without a mirror, you would have to get used to living in a world with a vague sense of yourself. Every morning when you wake up, you won't know if your hair is messy, if your face is dirty, or if you've accidentally tripped over a stone without realizing it. Without a mirror, you would feel like a piece of nature, a part of everything, something that doesn't need to see itself to feel its presence. You may be wondering if you could live like this, but take a moment and imagine how would you live without confirmation of your own image through a mirror? Would you become indifferent to your appearance? Or would you develop a new self-awareness? One that doesn't rely on external appearance, but on how you feel your existence in this wild environment. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really enjoy what I'm doing here. Feel free to share your location and local time so we can sense this connection. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on a fan for a soft background sound, and let's enjoy tonight's journey together. Section 1: Discovering Life Without Mirrors. You wake up in the morning feeling the quiet of the world around you. There's no alarm clock ringing, no harsh light from your phone or computer screen. In this world, everything is raw, natural, untouched by the hands of modern civilization. You stand up and begin to move, feeling the earth beneath your feet. But there's something strange. You have no mirror to check yourself. The whole world seems to have no concern for your presence, and neither do you. Naturally, you can't help but ask yourself the first question: what do I look like? In modern society, looking in the mirror has become an essential part of everyone's daily routine. Almost everyone spends time in the morning fixing their hair, applying makeup, or simply checking if their outfit looks okay. But in your world now without a mirror, you have no way of confirming how you appear. You don't know if you look good if your face is dirty, or if your hair is tangled. Perhaps you can only feel your body through other senses, your breath, your movements. But none of this is visible like it would be with a mirror. While living in the modern world, you may see many people obsessed with their appearance, constantly seeking ways to perfect their looks. But now you no longer need to worry about these things. You can't see changes in your hair or skin, and this might actually bring you some comfort. A sense of relief comes over you as you no longer have to sit in front of a mirror every morning to prepare for the day. You simply live free from self-judgment. But then there are moments when you can't help but ask yourself, will I be accepted if I don't have anyone to reflect me back? Humans from prehistoric times probably had to live in a world without an image of themselves. There was no one to look at you from a distance and say you looked fine, that you were beautiful, or that you weren't okay. You could only understand and perceive yourself through your actions. This is how early humans lived, recognizing themselves through gestures, through actions, and through their interactions with the world around them. At this point, you begin to realize that life without a mirror is not just the absence of this object. It's a challenge to self-awareness. You can no longer live based on the reflection of another object. You must rely on feeling and direct interaction with the environment around you. Everything you sense in every moment, each step, each movement, each sound, becomes the measure of your existence. This makes you realize that in a world without mirrors, everything is simply living without needing to precisely define your shape or appearance. Interestingly, prehistoric humans also lived without mirrors, yet they developed an incredible ability to enhance other senses. They lived in a completely natural world where senses like sight, hearing, and touch were developed to replace the lack of modern tools. They learned to understand themselves not through a mirror, but through their feelings and responses from the objects around them. You can imagine one day stepping outside and sensing your body through the wind, through each flower, through the earth beneath your feet. It's a world without mirrors but not lacking in presence. You feel yourself as part of nature, blending with everything around you, with no need to see yourself to feel your existence. This also helps you realize that maybe what you desire in life is not always dependent on the confirmation of your appearance or external judgment. People in modern society seem overly focused on these things, which is why they often feel inadequate. But you in this world without mirrors live a free life, not swayed by standards of beauty or perfection. However, during those silent moments as you sit by a fire, you might ask yourself, would I ever want to see myself again? It's a paradoxical question, because in this world, seeing yourself becomes an abstract concept. You don't need a mirror to know you exist. You simply need to listen and feel. This sensation is similar to when you look at your shadow in the water and realize it doesn't entirely match what you imagine. But no matter what, the shadow is part of you, part of your existence. Perhaps you don't need to know what you look like to feel that you're alive. In a world without mirrors, every day becomes an exploration of yourself, of your feelings, of your presence. And perhaps that's what makes life fascinating, not through what you see, but through what you feel. Section 2: Self-awareness through shape. As the days pass, you begin to realize that living without mirrors isn't as harsh as you initially thought. In fact, it opens up an entirely new world where self-awareness is no longer dependent on material objects or reflections. Instead, you start to feel and understand yourself through your sensations and interactions with the natural world. One morning, you find yourself standing by a stream where the water reflects the soft sunlight. As you look down at the water, you see your shadow, but it's unlike any image you've ever seen in a mirror. Your shape seems distorted, stretched, and unclear. You can't clearly see your face. You don't know if your hair is messy, and you can't tell if there's dirt on your body. Yet strangely, you don't feel uncomfortable or lacking. You sense your body through feeling, through your movements, and through what you do not through a mirror. You begin to realize that in this world, your sense of self no longer comes from seeing yourself in a mirror, but from how you interact with the environment. You feel the movement of your body with each step on the ground. You feel your breath and the strength in your arms as you lift heavy objects. Every action becomes an affirmation of your existence, and you gradually realize that in this world, nothing is more important than the feeling of your own self. As you walk through the forest, the sunlight streams through the leaves above, and you feel your presence more strongly. You don't need to look in a mirror to know you exist. Everything in nature around you reflects your presence. A soft breeze moves your hair. The sounds of the forest birds singing, leaves rustling beneath your feet, create a rhythm, an inseparable part of your self-awareness. In those moments, you realize that your awareness of your shape, of your body, no longer matters. What matters most is that you feel yourself through your senses, through everything you do and experience each day. At this point, you begin to wonder if early humans lived the same way. They didn't have mirrors and couldn't see themselves in a perfect or distorted image, yet they still existed, still lived, and still communicated with each other. It didn't matter if they were beautiful or not. They were still part of the community, still part of nature. In this world without mirrors, you don't have to worry about what you look like. because you've already become aware of yourself through what you do and what you feel. This makes you think about modern life. Today's youth can easily evaluate themselves through selfies or phone screens. Everything is influenced by the reflection of technology, but in this world you've learned that your image isn't the most important thing. What matters more is how you perceive yourself and your existence through simple actions. The modern world may have countless tools to help you look at yourself through a mirror, but have we forgotten the true feeling of living, the feeling of ourselves without needing to look? A humorous thought crosses your mind. If someone from the modern world accidentally found themselves in this world, could they survive without a mirror? Would they be able to accept not knowing what they looked like? Surely at first, they would feel confused, maybe even panicked without any reflection to look at. But once they accept that self-awareness doesn't need a mirror, they would realize how much freer this way of life is. You don't always need to look in a mirror to confirm who you are. Living in this world, you begin to realize that you don't need to live by others' expectations of your image. You don't need to meet beauty standards or the ideals society places upon you. In this world, you are free to live in your own way, and you perceive yourself through your sensations, not through a reflection. But sometimes you reflect on the times you looked into mirrors in the past and wonder if changes in your appearance really matter. Do you feel more beautiful when you look in the mirror? Or has your perception of yourself changed just because of an external gaze? Now you realize that you can feel good about yourself without needing to look in a mirror, but through what you do and how you feel. Moreover, in these days, you begin to notice something interesting. Your sense of self is no longer dependent on how others see you. You no longer feel the need to please anyone through your external image. You live for yourself, for the feeling of your own being, and this makes you feel freer and more at peace than ever before. People of the past didn't need to worry about others' gazes because they only had to live and survive. And perhaps now, you begin to see that living freely unconstrained by societal standards is a priceless thing that you can't find in the modern world. And anyway, you still have to face the reality that you don't have a mirror and you might never know what you look like. But maybe that's not the problem. Because you've learned that in this world, you don't need to see yourself to feel your presence. You just need to live, listen, and feel. Section 3. Learning to maintain an image. Life without mirrors continues to teach you surprising lessons about self-awareness. After a few weeks in this world, you begin to see that the way prehistoric humans maintained their self-image wasn't just based on reflections or external judgments, but on the real experiences and feelings they had with the world around them. Perhaps these are the things that can help you understand yourself better, not through images, but through the events, actions, and emotions that you experience every day. Since there are no mirrors to check your body, you must learn to maintain your image through daily actions and habits. For example, you begin to take care of yourself through simple gestures like brushing your teeth with self-made tools from plants or cleaning your skin with leaves that have natural cleansing properties. You learn that the body doesn't need expensive products or complicated beauty routines, but just attention to the simplest things. Yet strangely, without mirrors, you don't feel a lack or a need to perfect yourself. You realize that your body is a continuation of nature, needing no adjustments or changes. In this world, appearance isn't the only important thing. What matters more is the actions you take in every moment. You learn to maintain your image by living in harmony with nature through the way you express yourself in every situation. For example, when you go hunting, you can't just rely on your image to sense who you are. You have to rely on your survival skills, your ability to use tools, track and catch prey. You can't see yourself in a mirror, but you know that surviving in nature will prove you're capable of existing and adapting. And this is how prehistoric humans maintained their image, not through physical reflection, but through the actions they performed, through their ability to survive in this wild world. You might think about modern life, where we have so many tools to improve our self-image, from beauty services to photo editing technologies. But in the world without mirrors, perfection isn't the goal. In fact, prehistoric people might have lived quite comfortably without worrying about appearances, because they evaluated themselves based on what they did not, what they saw. You continue learning to maintain your image through your social relationships within the community. You can't see yourself in a mirror, but you can sense how others perceive you through their responses. Their looks, gestures, and feedback from the surroundings help you realize that you don't need to see yourself to know who you are. Your relationship with others, your bond with the community, is the real reflection of who you are. You may recall the times you looked into mirrors in your modern life and realized that sometimes looking at your image isn't confirmation of your self-worth. It's just a way of comparing, measuring, and sometimes it makes you feel inadequate. But in this world, you don't need to rely on external images to understand yourself. You can live freely, confidently, and feel your existence through every moment. Moreover, you gradually realize something else important in the world. Without mirrors, you can't just live by others' judgments of your appearance. You can't rely on societal approval or compliments to feel good about yourself. You must affirm yourself through your actions, through your ability to survive, care for yourself, and protect yourself. One day, you encounter a different tribe, and they don't live like you. They don't have the same ways of taking care of themselves. But when you observe how they live, you realize one thing: they don't lack confidence either. They don't need a mirror to know who they are. They just live and do what's necessary to survive. You understand that in this world, self-awareness is not something you can see in a mirror, but something you feel through your interaction with the environment and through daily actions. From this, you realize that even without a mirror, people can still maintain their image, not through external appearances, but through the actions they take and how they communicate with the world around them. You don't need to look into a mirror to know who you are. You just need to live, feel, and engage with the world naturally. Now you start to understand that not having a mirror doesn't mean losing your self-image. In fact, you're finding a new way of perceiving yourself, not through physical reflection, but through the deep feelings you have about life. Section 4. Does appearance matter? With each passing day in a world without mirrors, you begin to feel a significant shift in the way you perceive your own appearance. In the modern world, we spend so much time and effort building a perfect image of ourselves, selecting outfits, doing our hair, applying makeup, and adhering to the beauty standards society sets for us. But here in a world without mirrors, you realize that appearance really isn't as important as you once thought. At first, you might have thought that not being able to see yourself would be a huge problem. How would you know if everything was okay? How would you know if you looked attractive? But as you live in this world, you start to notice that you no longer care much about those questions. You no longer need to worry about whether someone is looking at you or if you're doing everything right. Instead, you begin to focus more on the sensations of your body, the natural movements as you go about your day. One example becomes quite obvious when you go hunting. At that moment, you don't have time to worry about whether you look neat or not. Every step, every movement is part of your life, and you don't need to check yourself in a mirror to confirm you're doing it right. The feeling of your body, the strength in your arms and legs, the skill in each step, that's your affirmation of yourself, not a reflection in a mirror. This action, the focus on survival, becomes the only way to recognize who you are. Appearance becomes less important because you understand that your existence doesn't depend on how others look at you, but on how you feel about yourself. Humans in prehistoric times lived in a world where appearance was not valued. There was no comparison of beauty or style. The only thing that mattered was whether you could survive, whether you could deal with nature and live in a world full of challenges. And then you ask yourself, Is modern society too focused on appearance? Today's youth seem to always worry about showing the perfect image. From edited selfies to comparing ourselves to unrealistic beauty standards, we sometimes forget that appearance is just a small part of life. What's much more important is what you show through your actions and your genuine feelings. So if we don't need to rely on appearance to define ourselves, what is truly important in life? You begin to think that without mirrors, you're truly free. You don't need to worry about things that don't matter, instead focusing on living fully each day. You learn to live in harmony with nature, with your surroundings, and with yourself, without depending on any form of judgment. Sometimes you may remember the times you looked into mirrors in your past life and ask yourself if changing your appearance really mattered. Do you feel more beautiful when you look into a mirror? Or has your perception of yourself changed just because of an external glance? Now you realize that you can feel good about yourself without needing to look in a mirror, but simply through what you do and how you feel. Moreover, during these days, you begin to notice something intriguing. The feeling of self-worth no longer depends on how others perceive you. You no longer feel the need to please anyone through your external appearance. You live for yourself, for the feeling of your own being, and this makes you feel freer and more peaceful than ever before. People in ancient times didn't need to worry about the looks of others because all they had to do was live and survive. And perhaps now you begin to see that living freely unconstrained by social standards is something invaluable that you can't find in the modern world. And anyway, you still have to face the fact that you don't have a mirror and you might never know what you look like. But maybe that's not the problem, because you've learned that in this world you don't need to see yourself to feel your presence. You just need to live, listen, and feel. Section 5. Experiencing the body through surrounding objects. Without mirrors, and with no way to confirm how you look, you begin exploring how to experience your body through the surrounding objects. In contrast to modern life, where we can always see ourselves through rearview mirrors or phone screens. In this world, you must rely on your own senses to understand your body. More importantly, you begin to realize that the absence of mirrors makes you feel more connected to the objects of nature, as though your body merges with them. One morning, as you step outside, you feel a gentle breeze on your skin, lifting strands of hair, and you become aware of each gust of wind. This cool sensation brushing against your skin serves as a gentle reminder of the liveliness of your body. Each strand of hair, each wrinkle on your body is no longer something you need to check in a mirror. Instead, you perceive them through your sensations, through your contact with the world outside. When you touch the ground, you feel the weight of your body with every step. When you touch the trees, you feel the texture of the bark through your hands. Every object reflects your body, affirming that you are alive and present. You start to realize that your body is not something that only exists to be looked at in a mirror. It is a part of nature experienced through each movement and touch. Sometimes you can't see yourself in the mirror, but you can feel each muscle, each movement, when your body shifts. This awareness becomes even clearer when you lift heavy objects, or stretch your body after a long day of work. Without mirrors, you no longer worry about your appearance. You simply live in the natural feeling of your body. Perhaps you'll find it interesting to think about this. Do humans really need to see themselves in a mirror to know who they are? Without a mirror, you can still understand your existence through what you feel, through your interaction with the world around you. The daily motions, the sensations from your body, are how you recognize yourself without needing a reflected image. While modern society pushes us to check our image through tools like phones, photo editing apps, or rear-view mirrors. In this world, you've learned that the body can naturally express itself without needing the confirmation of a mirror. In moments like these, you begin to think about how modern humans deal with anxiety about body image. We often seek ways to build our image through photos, clothes, or beauty surveys. But in this world, you don't have a mirror, no beauty tools, yet you feel an odd sense of relief. You don't need to worry about being a model of perfection. You only need to feel your body with each movement, each sensation. Your awareness of your body no longer depends on what you see. It's based on what you feel. You start to understand that the body truly can exist and operate without needing confirmation from anyone. And then you ask yourself, could it be that in modern life we've neglected a crucial part of our existence? Could it be that we've become too focused on what we see, forgetting that what matters most is how we feel about our body and its harmony with the world around us? As you continue to learn how to survive in this world, you realize that life is not just about what you see, it's about what you feel. You don't need to look in a mirror to know who you are. You simply need to live in the moment, feel each step and exist through what you do, not through reflections. Section 6. Homemade Tools and Self-Body Evaluation. Life in a world without mirrors forces you to find new ways to care for your body. Since you can't look into a mirror to know what you look like, you must rely on other senses to understand your physical state. One of the simplest and most effective ways to do this is through the homemade tools. You create tools made from nature that help you maintain a healthy body and survive in this wild world. When you go hunting, you realize that you don't only rely on your muscle strength or your body's agility. You also need to know how to use the tools around you. Sharp stones, sturdy sticks, and even strong tree branches become essential tools that help you hunt or do other tasks. In a world without mirrors, these tools are the means by which you can check and assess your body. For instance, when you use a long stick to measure the height of a large tree, you can feel the precision of each movement. These homemade tools not only help you complete tasks, but also allow you to feel your body through each action. You don't need a mirror to see if you're strong or not. You can sense it through how you use your strength through the bodily movements needed to get the job done. Moreover, when you chop wood, carve stone, or do other physical tasks, you realize that your body is truly the tool helping you survive. You feel the connection between your body and the tools you make. Your body becomes part of the process, not just a physical object, but a part of what you create to sustain life. Without mirrors, you no longer need to worry about seeing injuries or fatigue on your body. These tools help you realize that your body isn't just something you look at, it's something that participates in your actions. You feel every injury, not through a mirror, but through the pain, the need to rest, and the sensation your body gives when you recover. You begin to understand that the signs of your body aren't something you need to see in a mirror. They're something you feel through your body's reaction when interacting with the world. These homemade tools also teach you how to take care of your body in the wild. You don't need beauty products or modern body care tools, but you can still maintain and protect your body. Leaves with soothing properties, natural herbs that heal you. Learn how to make remedies from nature, which gives you a clearer understanding of your body's needs and its capacity for healing. The feeling of self-reliance is incredibly rewarding. You no longer have to depend on modern products or tools to evaluate or care for yourself. You realize that your body is strong enough to survive and thrive in such a harsh world. And while modern life may make us feel deprived when we lack advanced tools in this world, you've found freedom in not needing a mirror or complicated products. This makes you reflect on modern life. We live in a society where everything can be controlled and adjusted with modern tools. But in all of this, have we forgotten the importance of the body and our ability to protect ourselves? Are we too focused on outward appearance while forgetting that the body is the strongest tool we have? From these homemade tools, you realize that your body is not just a physical entity, it's part of a larger ecosystem where you are an important link. You don't need to look in a mirror to know that your body exists. You feel your existence through every movement, every action, and every tool you create to sustain life. So, as you continue your life in this world, you learn that tools aren't just the means to survive. They are the way you understand your body. Through using tools, you not only complete tasks, but also evaluate your strength and abilities. And even without mirrors, you can still feel your body through every action, every movement, and every step you take in this wild world. Section 7. Body Decoration Techniques. Living in a world without mirrors, you quickly realize that maintaining an image of your body is not always tied to external factors or judgments from others. However, one fascinating thing is that prehistoric humans, despite not having mirrors, still had ways of decorating and beautifying their bodies. They used natural materials around them to create tools and adornments, not only to express individuality, but also to protect themselves. For example, you begin to see yourself using natural materials such as shells, animal bones, or plant fibers to create simple but meaningful jewelry. Bracelets made from stones, necklaces made from animal bones, or even drawings on the body with charcoal or clay. These are all ways prehistoric humans expressed creativity and personality without needing a mirror. Without a mirror to look into, you have to sense changes in your body through the decorations you create. Each piece of jewelry or design on your body becomes an affirmation of who you are, a way of expressing your personality and strength without needing external validation. When you wear bracelets or necklaces made from bones, you feel yourself become more special. You realize that your body is part of nature and that adornment highlights the natural beauty you already possess. The strange thing is, without mirrors, you can't know if the decoration fits your body perfectly. You can only feel the harmony from wearing it, from the way your body moves with it, the way your body interacts with these creations. You can't look into a mirror to see if you look beautiful, but you feel that beauty through how your body interacts with these objects. You begin to realize that beauty is not something defined by an external image, but through the feeling and harmony between you and what you create. This feeling makes you think about modern life, where we spend a lot of time creating an image of ourselves through jewelry, clothes, and beauty products. But do we truly feel our beauty through these things? Are we chasing societal beauty standards instead of finding true beauty within ourselves and in our natural feelings? An interesting question arises in your mind. If prehistoric humans didn't have mirrors, would they feel self-conscious or insecure about their bodies? Perhaps not, because they didn't need to look at their reflection to know who they were. They were confident in using their bodies and creating adornments to express themselves. Every piece of jewelry, every design on the body was a part of them, a personal mark left in the natural world. In modern life, we may have become overly focused on beautifying ourselves through external images, through looking into mirrors and striving for perfection. But in this world without mirrors, you learn that beauty is not something you see, but something you feel through actions and the natural sensations of your body. You don't need to beautify yourself to please others. You simply need to feel your natural beauty through what you create, through the actions you take every day. Each bracelet or strand of beads you wear is not just an adornment. It's part of how you connect with the world around you. You begin to realize that in a world without mirrors, you find beauty through your feelings, through the natural and authentic things, not through reflected images or societal standards. With each passing day, you understand that your body doesn't need to be perfected or flawless by any standard. You only need to feel its beauty through the things you create, through the way you interact with nature and with yourself. True beauty is when you harmonize with the world, when you don't need to compare yourself to the perfect models that society creates. And then you realize something important. In a world without mirrors, the beauty of your body doesn't need to be seen through external images. It exists in every action, in every creation, and in the way you live in harmony with nature. You don't need to beautify yourself to be accepted. You only need to live, feel, and connect with the world naturally. Section 8. Body language and nonverbal communication. In a world without mirrors, you gradually realize that communication is not limited to words or facial expressions. When you can't see yourself, you begin to learn how to communicate with those around you through body language, through gestures and physical interactions. At this point, your body becomes the most powerful communication tool you have. Living in a community where no one can see themselves in mirrors, everyone must rely on nonverbal cues to understand each other. Hand gestures, eye contact, and body language become the main ways you express your thoughts and emotions. For example, a raised eyebrow can show surprise, a nod can express agreement, and a clap can indicate appreciation or encouragement. These actions don't need to be conveyed through words or images. They're simply a reflection of what you feel and want to express. On one occasion, while hunting with your tribe, you notice that everyone communicates without speaking, relying instead on signals that each person understands. A sharp glance, a hand gesture, a subtle wave, all of these carry meaning. You don't need to speak much because body language has conveyed everything you want to say. This makes you realize that in this world, living without mirrors doesn't disconnect you from others. In fact, it provides more opportunities to communicate in other ways. Body language not only helps you communicate with those around you, but it also helps you understand yourself better. When you don't have a mirror to check how you look, you begin to pay attention to how your body moves, how you express emotions through your eyes, smiles, or even the changes in your voice when talking to others. You realize that these physical expressions can reflect what you're feeling without the need to see them in a mirror. An interesting example is when you share a meal with a member of your tribe. You don't need to look in a mirror to see if you're eating properly or looking good. You just need to look at how others react to you. If they smile, if they nod, you know that you're being accepted, that you don't need to worry about how you present yourself externally. This makes you reflect on modern life. In our world, we constantly compare ourselves to the images in the mirror, to what we see in the media or on social media. We judge ourselves based on appearance, based on what others see. But in a world without mirrors, you realize that true connection doesn't have to rely on those images. You can communicate and connect with others through what you express with your body, through gestures and the subtlety of how you interact. In this world, you begin to understand that body language can reveal more about you than words. A loving glance, a friendly pat on the back, or a gentle smile can express emotions, empathy, things that words can't fully capture. You don't need to check yourself in a mirror to know if you're making a good impression. You just need to listen to how your body responds, how people respond to you. But there's something interesting. Without mirrors, you can't correct your behavior in the way you would in modern society. You can't stop in front of a mirror to fix your appearance or adjust your facial expression. Instead, you learn to understand and accept your expression immediately through feelings and feedback from your environment. Your body language is no longer controlled by the need to be perfect. It's authentic and natural. This helps you realize that in modern society, we may have become overly focused on controlling our image through mirrors, through media, and beauty surveys. But in this world, you understand that true connection between humans doesn't need to be based on images. You can communicate, understand each other through gestures, through shared feelings, without needing to check how you look. When you don't have a mirror, you also don't need to worry about what others think of you. The feedback you get from people through their eyes, through their smiles, or even through how they move close to you is enough to let you know that you're being genuine and natural. In this world, you no longer need to worry about whether you're perfect. You simply need to be yourself, communicate honestly and naturally. And finally, you realize that without a mirror, you've found a deeper way to connect with the world and those around you, because you no longer rely on external images to communicate. You just need to listen, feel, and live authentically with yourself. Section 9. Confronting the reality of beauty. Living in a world without mirrors, you start to understand an important truth. Beauty is not always defined by what you see in a mirror or what society reflects back at you. One question you begin to ask yourself is, does beauty truly exist as something you can see? In modern life, beauty is often measured by external standards: smooth skin, bright eyes, a slender body, or shiny hair. But in this world where there are no mirrors, your beauty becomes something you can't see, but something you feel and experience. The reality is, when you can't see yourself in a mirror, you begin to realize that true beauty isn't just about what you see, it's about how you feel and interact with the world. External markers don't determine your worth. You begin to understand that beauty doesn't always show through appearance. It also comes from the strength of your spirit, the actions you take, and the way you express resilience in life. You see that someone can have an imperfect exterior, yet possess an inner strength that can't be measured by appearance alone. Every time you go hunting, you feel the strength of your body with each step. Every time you conquer a new challenge, you see your body growing stronger. The scars don't make you weaker, they make you more aware of your own resilience. These scars, the calluses on your hands, the fading wounds over time, all stand as proof of your survival and your ability to overcome hardships. These marks are not something you would see in a mirror, but they are a significant part of the beauty that you feel and cherish. Beauty is not about a perfect image. It's about the reflection of life, existence, and endurance. You realize that true beauty is the combination of these factors: the strength of your spirit, the resilience in every step you take, and the way you engage with the world around you. You don't need to worry about whether you meet beauty standards, because your beauty comes from what you do and how you live. From this, you begin to feel that life without mirrors is truly a way to live freely and accept yourself. You don't need to seek confirmation from society. You don't need to worry about appearance, because you know that your beauty comes from what you feel, from the actions and experiences in your life. You might think about how people in modern life spend so much time searching for beauty through external appearances. We often try to meet society's beauty standards, from editing photos to participating in beauty pageants. But in this world, you realize that beauty is not something you can measure by physical appearance. It's a natural feeling, a combination of the physical and spiritual, of what you've experienced, learned, and what you've done to survive in this world. So when there are no mirrors, can you truly perceive your beauty? You begin to realize that true beauty is the freedom to accept yourself without comparing to others, without trying to be the model of perfection that society has created. You understand that when you live freely and accept yourself, your natural beauty shines through, not through a mirror's reflection, but through your actions, feelings, and your connection with the world. The freedom that comes from not having to judge yourself through a mirror makes you feel lighter. You don't need to worry about scars, imperfections, or body flaws. These things are simply signs of a journey you've been through, lessons you've learned throughout your life. Those marks aren't something you need to hide or be ashamed of. They're part of the story of your resilience, your inner strength built with each passing day. Now you start to realize that in a world without mirrors, your true beauty is not something you can see. It's not something that can be measured by external images. Your beauty exists in your harmony with nature, in your survival through challenges, and in the way you face life, naturally, honestly, and with strength. And ultimately, you realize that when there are no mirrors, you've found true freedom. You no longer have to live by the beauty standards or perfection that society imposes. Your beauty, even though not reflected in a mirror, is a beauty full of strength, confidence, and harmony with yourself and the world around you. Section 10. Discovering yourself through relationships. When there are no mirrors to confirm your appearance, you begin to perceive yourself through your relationships with those around you. In this world, the connection between you and the community is not based on images or external beauty standards, but on how you communicate, act, and express yourself through your relationships. You can't see yourself in a mirror, but the people in your tribe recognize you through non-verbal cues, a glance, a smile, or simply the way you work alongside them throughout the day. While modern society often emphasizes self-evaluation through appearance, you begin to realize that in this world, you only need to rely on your actions and interactions to truly recognize yourself. One of the most important moments is when you go hunting with your tribe. Without a mirror, there's no way to adjust your image, but you realize that others' judgments of you are not based on your looks, but on your reliability in action. When you participate in a hunt, you don't need to worry about what you look like. You just need to focus on the task, on the goal, and on the people around you. It's your contribution to the collective success that gets you recognized. In another moment, when you work with the tribe to build a shelter, you can't see yourself in a mirror, but you can perceive your value through the way others look at and treat you. They don't see you as an object or a perfect image. Instead, they value you for your ability to work, your dedication, and the care you bring to them. You realize that through every action in the community, you not only discover yourself, but affirm your worth. Self-awareness is no longer solely dependent on how you look. It becomes a dynamic process, a process of interaction and growth within the community. While living in a world without mirrors, you understand that it's these relationships, these connections and interactions that are the most important in helping you understand yourself. You don't need a mirror to confirm who you are. You simply need to feel the interaction and the feedback from others through your actions. From this, you begin to ask yourself how modern humans develop self-awareness. In our society, many people rely on images and others' judgments to define their self-worth. We spend a lot of time seeking acceptance from society through appearance, through clothes, or beauty products. But in this world, you realize that your worth isn't defined by your looks or societal standards. Instead, it's defined by your contribution to the community, your actions, and the sincerity you bring to your relationships. When you realize that your relationship with the community is the best way to understand yourself, you no longer feel inadequate or self-conscious about your appearance. You understand that you don't need to look beautiful or meet any standard to be loved or accepted. You just need to be yourself and contribute to the community in your own way. Without mirrors, you begin to see more clearly that your value is not measured by images, but by your ability to connect and create relationships with those around you. This also helps you realize that relationships are not just about communication between you and others, but about communication with yourself. You can find self-awareness in the way you understand and treat those in your tribe, in how you share, help, and protect them. These relationships aren't based on judgments of appearance. They're based on trust, respect, and the connection between individuals. And as you reflect on this, you realize that in modern society, we may be missing this deep connection. We focus too much on appearance and image, forgetting the real values that come from within. In a world without mirrors, you've learned that your worth cannot be measured by external beauty. It's defined by how you live, how you act, and how you connect with the world around you. You don't need to look in a mirror to know who you are, because you can perceive yourself through the relationships you build. Section 11. Confidence or anxiety. In a world without mirrors, you begin to face an interesting question. Can confidence be built without external validation? In modern society, we often rely on compliments or criticisms from others to shape our self-confidence. But in a world without mirrors, you realize that confidence doesn't have to come from appearance or others' judgments. It can come from within, from accepting and understanding yourself. At first, you might feel some anxiety because you can't check your reflection in a mirror. You wonder if you can truly exist without the constant check-in of how you look. But as you live in this world, you start to realize that while others can't see you in a mirror, they can still see you through your actions, your attitude, and your contribution to the community. You begin to feel more confident, not because you can fix yourself in front of a mirror, but because you know that you can do meaningful things, that you can face challenges and overcome them without needing external confirmation. Your confidence no longer relies on how you look, but on what you do and how you feel about yourself through everyday challenges. When you hunt, build shelters, or do other tasks, you feel the strength in your body, the resilience in your mind, and the determination in your actions. All these things help you realize that confidence isn't about appearance, it's about a feeling. You're confident because you know you're capable of doing things, surviving, and contributing to the tribe. But you can't help but think about the moments when you feel anxious. Without a mirror, you don't know if you're doing things right or if others are judging you. In those moments, you feel uncertain, unsure of yourself. But it's precisely in those moments that you realize that without a mirror, you're learning to trust yourself, your natural feelings, and the decisions you make. This anxiety is not a bad thing. It's part of life, helping you develop a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Living in this world, you can't rely on mirrors to know if you're beautiful or if you're looking good. You can't see yourself in a mirror to know if you're perfect or not. But you begin to realize that while the modern world is deeply tied to beauty standards and perfection in this world, you learn how to accept imperfection, to love yourself without needing to look into a mirror. An interesting thing happens in this world. You start to see that confidence is no longer about how you look, but about the certainty in your actions. When you work, you realize that you can complete a task without needing external feedback. You don't need to see yourself in a mirror to know if you're doing a good job. You feel it through each movement, through every task you complete, and through the way you face the challenges in your life. Confidence is no longer something you can see in the mirror. It's something you feel through your actions and experiences. And when you think about modern life, where appearance and reflections in mirrors play a huge role in building self-confidence, you realize that maybe the intense focus on appearance has caused us to lose sight of true confidence. In this world without mirrors, you find a new kind of confidence, a confidence that doesn't depend on reflections, but on what you can do and how you face the world. Sometimes, when you sit next to the fire observing the people in your tribe and feeling the connection between you and them, you realize that true confidence comes from being in harmony with the community, from accepting yourself without needing to look in a mirror to prove your worth. And this helps you feel freer, knowing that you don't have to live according to judgments or comparisons. You just have to live authentically with yourself. Ultimately, you understand that without a mirror, you don't need to worry about whether you're confident or not. You just need to live, act, and feel. Confidence is not something you find in a reflection. It's something you find in your actions, in accepting yourself, and in how you face challenges without the need for external validation. Section 12. Realizing the importance of surrounding perception. Living in a world without mirrors, you begin to realize that self-awareness doesn't just come from what you see in the mirror. It truly comes from how you perceive your surroundings, your sense of self. The awareness of your body, and even your existence, depend on how you respond to the world around you, to the feedback from nature, and the unspoken messages others send you through their actions and reactions. Without a mirror to look into, you begin to listen to yourself more carefully. You feel each step you take on the earth, the weight of each object you carry, and the rhythm of your breath. You become more attuned to the sounds and sensations around you, from the rustling of leaves to the changing temperature in the air. You begin to understand that your existence isn't just about what you see, it's about how you experience the world. The world without mirrors teaches you to perceive not only your environment, but also yourself through the feelings you experience. The cold wind against your skin, the warmth of the sun on your face, the weight of the tools you carry. All of these sensations reinforce your awareness of your body and your place in the world. You don't need a mirror to confirm your existence. You feel it through the environment, through your interactions, and through the way your body responds to the world around you. In this world, there's no clear separation between you and nature. You're not an observer. You're a part of the world. Everything, the objects, the landscape, and the creatures around you becomes intertwined with your self-awareness. You can't see yourself in a mirror, but you feel yourself in every gust of wind, every raindrop, and every step on the ground. The world doesn't exist as something you just look at. It exists as something you live in, and you experience your own existence through this profound connection. With each passing day, you become more in sync with nature, realizing that everything in the world can become a part of your self-awareness. You don't need a mirror to know you exist. You can feel your presence through your body's response to the world around you. One memorable moment is when you stand atop a high mountain, looking out over the landscape, feeling the wind blow across your body. You don't need to look in a mirror to know you're alive. You just need to listen to the sound of the wind, feel the coolness of the air, and recognize that you are part of everything. Your presence doesn't need to be validated by a reflection. It is affirmed through the sensations and the connection you feel with the natural world. Perception of your body also comes through how you feel in relation to the environment. When you can't look into a mirror to see if you've changed, you perceive the changes by how your body reacts to the environment. You feel your muscles tense after a long day of work, or you sense your fatigue after a hunting expedition. These changes aren't something you see in a mirror, but they are the ways your body communicates with you through sensations. You realize that in modern life, we may be too dependent on looking into mirrors to confirm our existence. But in the world without mirrors, you learn that perceiving your surroundings and being in harmony with nature is one of the most important ways to understand yourself. You don't need to check your reflection to confirm your presence. You simply need to live, feel, and interact with the world around you to know that you exist. This feeling helps you realize that while modern society may encourage us to check ourselves in mirrors in this world, you've learned that your existence doesn't need to be confirmed by an image. You just need to live, feel, and connect with nature, understanding that your true self-awareness comes from your interactions with the world and the sensations you experience every day. Section 13, Accepting Imperfections and Moving Forward. Living in a world without mirrors, you must learn to accept yourself with all your imperfections, the things that can't be seen. But this lack of visible confirmation doesn't make you feel weak or inadequate. On the contrary, you begin to realize that imperfections are not something to hide or worry about. They are an essential part of your journey of growth and survival. At first, you might feel uneasy not being able to see how you look in the mirror. The dirt on your body, the scars from hunting or building shelter, seem to be marks of imperfection that you can't hide. But then you realize that those imperfections tell your story. Scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof of survival of strength in facing and overcoming challenges. For example, when you go hunting with your tribe, you can't see your wounds in a mirror, but you feel them in your pain, in the need to rest, and in your recovery. You don't need to hide these injuries, and you don't need to make them disappear. In fact, you take pride in them because they are proof that you've overcome challenges, that you have survived, and that you have grown stronger. These imperfections make you unique, highlighting qualities you may not have noticed if you lived in a world constantly checking reflections. This teaches you that imperfection is a natural part of life. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need everything to be flawless to feel confident and strong. You can accept your flaws, your shortcomings without feeling ashamed or anxious. And through accepting your imperfections, you learn how to move forward, how to work with what you have, and how to continuously grow and evolve. Without a mirror, you can't see the changes in your appearance. But these changes are not always a bad thing. They can be signs of growth, of learning, and of maturing over time. You don't need to worry about aging or changes in your body. You simply need to feel those changes through your actions, through the things you are capable of doing, and through what you've overcome. One day when you feel the signs of aging wrinkles appearing on your skin, you don't feel regret or fear. Instead, you feel a sense of pride in the years you've lived, in the experiences and lessons you've learned. These changes are not something that make you imperfect. They are a part of your journey, a sign that you've lived and that you continue to grow. And then you realize that imperfection is not something to deny. It is a part of you, and rather than trying to hide it, you learn to accept and embrace it. Without a mirror, you cannot confirm yourself through an external image, but you learn to recognize yourself through feelings, through your actions, and through the lessons you've learned every day. This helps you understand that in modern life, we may be too focused on perfection, on external images that we want to show the world. But in this world without mirrors, you learn that perfection is not the most important thing. What matters is that you learn to accept your imperfections, love yourself, and keep moving forward no matter the difficulties. Accepting imperfection is a crucial step in living freely, not being driven by societal pressures. You don't need to be a perfect model, you just need to be yourself. And this acceptance allows you to keep going, to overcome challenges, and to live your life fully. Section 14. The value of perception and self-feeling. Living in a world without mirrors, you become acutely aware of the price of self-perception. While modern society tends to focus on reflected images, outward appearances, and visible things, you learn that the true cost of living without a mirror is not a loss. It is an opportunity to feel and experience yourself more deeply. When you can't look in a mirror to assess how you appear, you begin to learn how to sense your body and emotions through other senses. You become aware of yourself not through a reflection in glass, but through every movement, every gust of wind on your skin, and every sensation in your body as it interacts with the world. You realize that your existence doesn't need to be proven by an image. It is confirmed through your experiences, your feelings, and what you do each day. One morning you wake up and feel your breath. You can't look in a mirror to check if you're alert, but you know that your body is functioning. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, and your muscles stretch to wake you up. You sense that your body is alive through these simple acts. You don't need to see yourself in a mirror to know that you exist. You feel it through every breath and every action. This feeling makes you reflect on modern life. We live in a society where most things are measured by images. We can see ourselves in mirrors through photos and in every piece of media. But when you live in a world without mirrors, you realize that the true price of these reflections may be the ability to deeply feel yourself without needing external confirmation. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you begin to understand and love yourself through real experiences, not visual ones. This also helps you realize that life without a mirror teaches you to live authentically, to value real feelings over superficial judgments. Without a mirror, you don't have to worry about what others see. You don't have to perfect your appearance to meet external standards. You just need to live in the moment, appreciate your existence through sensations, and interact with the world naturally. In this world, you are free from the pressure of constantly needing to look a certain way. You don't need to measure your worth by how you appear to others. Instead, you discover your worth through your actions, through your daily experiences, and through your deep connection with yourself and the world around you. You begin to understand that in the modern world, we may place too much value on reflections and outward appearances. But in a world without mirrors, you learn that true self-awareness and self-worth come not from external images, but from what you feel inside. You don't need to look at yourself in a mirror to know who you are. You just need to feel, to experience, and to live freely without the constraints of how others perceive you. Section 15. The Journey of Self-Awareness and Self-Discovery. Living in a world without mirrors, your journey of self-awareness becomes deeper than ever before. Without the reflections of external images to confirm your existence, you must find the answers to the biggest questions about yourself. Without comparing yourself to others, without idealized images to strive toward, you begin to ask, who am I really? While modern humans may rely on mirrors and external images to understand themselves in a world without mirrors, you learn that self-awareness doesn't need to come from what you see. You sense it through actions, through the responses of your body, and through natural feelings in every moment. Your journey of self-awareness begins with small steps. You feel each breath, each step, each sensation in your body as you work or rest. You notice changes in yourself through listening to your body and through the feedback from the world around you. You don't need to see yourself in a mirror to recognize these changes. The wounds on your body, the scars, the signs of fatigue or strength, all serve as markers of your journey toward understanding yourself. One of the miraculous things about living without mirrors is that you are free to explore and shape your identity without being influenced by what others think about you. In modern society, we are often affected by images of perfection in the media, on social media, and by the beauty standards society has created. But in this world, you no longer worry about meeting these expectations. You are free to search for your own answers about yourself through what you feel, through the actions you take every day. This journey is not about seeking perfection, but about discovering yourself through your flaws, your weaknesses, and your strengths that you never noticed. You begin to realize that perfection is not the most important thing. What matters is being authentic, living in alignment with yourself, and doing what feels right in each moment. Without a mirror to check yourself, you learn to check yourself through your thoughts, your feelings, and your connection with the world. One day, when you sit beside the fire reflecting on everything you've been through, you can't look in a mirror to see how much you've changed, but you feel that change through your experiences, your relationships, and the work you've done. You realize that self-awareness is not something you can see, it's something you feel from within. This makes you think about modern life. We live in a society where everything is visible through mirrors, from our self-image to how we are judged by others. But in this world without mirrors, you learn that the deepest understanding of yourself doesn't come from looking into a mirror. It comes from the heart, from your actions, and from how you engage with the world. Self-awareness is not about comparing yourself to ideal images. It's about understanding and accepting yourself, flaws and all. You don't need to seek perfection or approval from the outside world. You just need to live authentically, act in accordance with your true feelings, and face challenges head-on. And when you live with this freedom, you realize that the journey of self-discovery is what truly matters. Finally, without mirrors to reflect your image, you discover yourself through your interaction with the world. You realize that you don't need validation from images or from external judgment to know that you are important. You are a part of this world, a part of the natural flow, and this feeling is the deepest form of self-awareness you will ever find. And you learn that in a world without mirrors, you not only discover yourself, but also learn to live more freely, more peacefully, and more authentically. We've now journeyed through self-awareness in a world without mirrors. A journey where you've learned that beauty isn't measured by reflections, but by feelings, actions, and harmony with the world around you. You've understood that self-awareness doesn't need to come from a mirror, but from the deep connection you have with yourself and with the world. You don't need to live by the beauty standards or perfection society imposes. You just need to live authentically, embracing every moment without worrying about your external image. In this world, imperfection isn't something to fear. It's a necessary part of the journey of growth and self-discovery. As this journey comes to a close, you realize that living without mirrors is not a loss, but an opportunity to explore yourself more deeply and freely. Because true self-awareness is not something you see, it's something you feel, experience, and live through each action, each step, and each connection with the world around you. Have a good night.